What's going on, everybody? John Eric Poli here with my MMA news, and today's guest is coming off a split decision win at UFC 287 over Cynthia Calvillo. Joined today by Loopy Godinez. Loopy, nice to see you again.
Nice to see you too. How you doing?
Good. Thanks again for doing this. Appreciate the time as always. And I actually want to get started by just kind of catching up a little bit. How's everything been going for you? I know we haven't spoken a minute here, so I hope all is well. Obviously, your career is doing fantastic, so it's good to see all that.
Yeah, I'm really happy, excited for, to see what's next for me. And right now, just taking a few days off and get back to work.
Yeah, so obviously a lot of bright things here coming up for you after this win over Cynthia, and we're going to talk a little bit about what's next here a little bit in the future part of this interview. For the time being, though, let's kind of get into the action here from UFC 287. I want to actually get started with right before the fight. There was kind of this intense moment right there where right when they announced Cynthia's name, she kind of walked across and you kind of met her in the middle and you guys stared down. She said something to you. You couldn't make it out on the broadcast. What was said there?
Well, she was super intense, and I really appreciate that. I, I really enjoy that part because I'm not like that, but like, kind of like she kind of came in the middle, and then she was saying, "If you," right? Like since she was like far, but then she started working forward, like to get closer. So then I'm like, okay, well, like I want to walk forward too. So then we meet in the middle, and then she just was just saying the word "f you," right? And then so like, but I couldn't save myself. I don't know why. So I just blew a kiss, right? That was my reaction, I guess. And then yeah, so that's what happened. But like I don't really take that like she probably was just saying it to herself, to her mind, because she's super nice girl, and like we got to talk a little bit after, and I even talked to her like few months before this, like to see if we would train together when I go to Vegas or something like that. But then didn't happen, and then I go offer her, to fight. But yeah, like that's what she say, and yeah, it was pretty funny.
Yeah, definitely an intense way to start off the fight, and the fight ended up being intense itself because it was a very close fight. Let's get into some of this action now here. So we'll start with the opening round. It seemed like you had a little bit of the speed advantage there on the feet, seemed to be controlling the stand up a little bit. Still very, very close, but seemed to get a little edge there. But then she gets that late takedown. Just your thoughts on that opening round and kind of how it played out in your eyes and kind of how what you thought going into the corner after round one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, um, I mean, it was a great fight, and like I this is the first fight where my brain, it was so clear. It was like when I was in the back and when I was working out, when I was in the cage, just if the way I was feeling. She took me down the first round. I got up, just like a little, like there was so many like little things that it happened that I was like, okay, this is a good thing for me. Like I know, like I couldn't use my wrestling more, and then there is a lot of like things that I could have done better, or I should have done better, or I should have done whatever it is. But just like the way I was feeling mentally is just like I'm happy with that. Like I'm still new in the sport. Like if you think about it, I've been training for 7 years, and then I started fighting 2 years after I started training. So I haven't been fighting for a long time. These girls that they are in the division, they've been fighting for such a long time, so much experience. But yeah, just happy with how I felt in my head.
Gotcha. So now I want to go to round two, actually more towards the end of round two, because it was a very close round in that one, but your nose started to bleed, and you actually said after the fight that you loved that. What was it about your nose bleeding that you were a big fan of there?
Well, I always blow makes it better. More the more blood, the better. Um, but like my nose is always like pretty. I don't know. I broke it a few years back, and it always bleeds. You can hit me super hard, and then it won't bleed. You can just tap it, and then will bleed. So it's just like depends where you hit it, I guess. I try to like to fix it or whatever, but they say if they do something and maybe get worse or just wait, just deal with it. So I guess some head movement I gotta work on.
All right, so then round three, another close round, but it seemed like you were landing a little bit of the harder shots. You got the takedown. Just want to know, what was the mindset like after the fight? Did you think you had it won? When you heard it was a split decision, were you nervous? What's kind of going through your mind as the final horn sounds off?
Yeah, it was close, and I as you say, I thought I was hitting her harder. I will see her first reaction every time I will land my combo or my strike. Like I will see her just going like, "Oh my gosh!" Right? So that's good. And then I kind of like I haven't watched the fight. I haven't found it. They haven't posted. I don't know. But then I remember pick her up, but she did a good job of kind of keeping herself up, like bring her like coming up. Um, I feel like my English is getting worse because I've been speaking a lot of Spanish. I think my English is getting worse. But anyways, yeah. So yeah, super close fight, and nothing wrong with that. Like she's been around for a long time. She has fought like the best in the divisions. In some point she was like, Dana White thought that she was gonna be like the next big thing. So yeah, it's just excited to take what I can to get better and just learn from this experience and just get better, and keep going forward, keep climbing up, and excited to see what's next.
And I know that you mentioned before the amount of respect that you have for, and obviously we would have assumed the respect too, obviously coming both from a Mexican background there. Just want to get your thoughts though, just kind of what everything that transpired with her afterwards. I was shocked when she was released by the UFC. I know she's been on a bit of a losing skip, but I didn't see that one coming. Just your thoughts on her getting released like that.
Yeah, I saw it like no yesterday, but the day before, or no, yesterday morning. I saw that, and I was like, oh damn! Like I was pretty, like damn, but by that, like by seeing that, like she was excited to come down to 115. She made it weight. I thought they would give her another opportunity after this one, but sometimes it's a business, and and when you have so many things, like so many losses in a row, I bet it's probably hard for the UFC to keep giving you opportunities, right? Like who will, like, who are we gonna give her? Like someone that just stepped in the UFC, but she has also a lot of experience. You know what I mean? Like, so it's a business, and that's what it is. I'm just wishing the best for her and hoping she's doing good, and whatever she decided to do after this, I hope goes well for her, because she's a good fighter. I mean, she was winning for such a long time, and yeah, wishing the best for her.
All right, so now a few times throughout this interview, you have mentioned how you are excited for what's next. Let's go to that now. What is next for you? Do you have a time frame of when you want to return? I know the UFC is returning to Canada in June. That's kind of a little bit of a quick turnaround, but I know you'd probably really like that card. Do you have an opponent in mind? Maybe is there any sort of thing that you have that you're set in stone? Like I want this next.
Mhm. Yeah, I have no thought about like who will I want next. My manager say a few fights need to happen before they make a match up for myself. Obviously I'm hoping to be climbing up, right? So everything has to be a little bit more strategic, more smart. I know I cannot be just taking fights just like that, because like we can see that could set you up, that could set you back, quite a bit. So I'm not gonna rush anything. I'm gonna let my manager and the UFC decide who is next for me and what's next for me, and I'll be ready.
And speaking of other things about what's next, I have to ask this question. I know you're vacationing right now, enjoying the nice warm weather, but I know you like to travel to train a decent amount. Any one of those trips coming up that you're going to go? I know you like to go with Vanessa Demopoulos, a few other fighters too. I know you like to make rounds there. Any nice travel training trips coming up?
Oh yeah, for sure. Guadalajara is my second home with Lobo Gym, so I'll be going there for sure.
All right, so now just to end things here today, I have to ask this question too. Big year so far for Mexican MMA. Obviously, Brandon Moreno, he won a championship. Yeah, Rodriguez, Alexa Grasso. Just how happy are you for all of those fighters?
It's amazing, it's really cool to see that, and we're just expiring, inspire other generations to start training, to start fighting, or not just to start fighting, but just to start, getting out there, like working out, learn how to defend yourself, as a woman, and I think it's changing, like, quite a bit now. Like, if you go to the gyms now, you see more girls training, you see more girls competing, more girls fighting, more girls being confident with themselves, So I think it's really good. We're doing a good thing, and it's just gonna get better.
And I want to ask you just quickly too about Alexa Grasso, just being that she's the first Mexican female fighter to win a title in the UFC. I'm sure that has to mean a lot to you there. And you have a relationship with Alexa, right? Have you guys trained in the past? I think, right?
Yes, yeah, we're good friends. We trained together before, and I go do some training at her gym. And yeah, super happy for her. They put a lot of work, and exciting to have her as a champion. She represents Mexico and represents the weight class so well. And the rematch is coming up, and I got everything on her. Like, she's gonna kill it. She's working really hard, and I'm excited.
Loopy, it's a pleasure as always. I'm going to let you get going so you can enjoy that vacation there. Just last thing before you head out for the day, social media so people know where to follow you at. You have any management, sponsorships, people you got to give shout outs to, anything along those lines? Floor is yours. Take it away.
Thank you. Well, thank you for having me, and thank you everyone that has been, helping me out with my camp, training, nutrition, uh, strength conditioning, you name it, right? My family, and that's it. Just everyone that has followed me. Mhm.